And welcome back, everybody. Welcome to the Refresh Point. My name is Ben, and as always, I'm joined by my constant co-host. It's Steve. Steve, how's it going?
Doing good. Just, holidays right around the corner. Finishing up all the shopping and just getting ready for some more Weiss Schwarz, man.
Well, I mean, according to last episode, the shopping's not for Bushi Road. Unfortunate. Well, maybe the free reprint. I don't know. If you want any foils out of that? I mean, do a little holiday free foils for yourself. Winning the Meister Cup, I guess, is, on the mind.
Honestly, the best Meister Cup promos announced ever at this point.
Wow. That GGO promo was sick.
Yeah.
Did you not see it?
I guess for the 4 people that played GGO, that was probably great, yeah.
Bruh.
Just saying.
There were,
No,
you can at least be accurate. There were 9 people at the Rosemont one.
I got absolutely clobbered by a GGO player at Houston. So.
Yeah. No, I'm a great fan of playing that deck. It's a great deck when everything goes well, and otherwise, question mark, die.
It's actually a cursed matchup into what I was playing, but here's the thing. If you block everything for 3 straight turns, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if the matchup's no good.
Yeah.
Finisher, never heard of one.
Yeah, true. I think I actually did that to you with GGO.
Yeah.
As well.
So, yeah. It was a familiar coincidence.
Yeah, that's rough, buddy. I mean, I remember that local too, where, we sat down, you pull out Overlord, I pull out GGO, I'm like, man, this is a cooked matchup. You're like, why? I'm like, my finisher is a fever finisher. I need all reverse. It's cooked. And then you just immediately drew the shit, ate the shit, died on the spot. Well,
the other thing is that your build doesn't have the NPC package.
Yeah.
And that package is pretty frustrating for most decks. So
I guess. I don't know.
After I blow up the whole board, it turns out all they need is one dude and the whole board comes right back. It's very frustrating.
I feel like, so it's a lot of stock investment for sure.
It's
it's a 3 stock thing, right?
Sure, but it turns out when you don't need your finisher, what you can really spend your stock on is free freshing, summoning a dude.
Don't need your finisher is a strong word.
Yeah.
I don't like the NPC package because I find that Pito plus the 2 or less Len by themselves, that's good enough, right? That's a 4 stock for the same heal outcome -1 board.
Yeah, the difference being that the NPC guy has hexproof,
which is
useful for manipulating.
Relevant.
Useful for manipulating in-game states, so you don't have to worry about the tap counter as much. That sort of thing.
Yeah, I guess. So that's true. But it's also a lot of slots within itself as well.
Yeah,
and so
all the times I saw it, it was coming off of the free fresh. They would free fresh, search for the dude, play the dude, get the other dude, and now all of a sudden there's 3 dudes.
Yeah, true. And then if you block afterwards for 2 turns, I guess you win the game.
Yeah.
Big if true. I have found on a personal level that I can't high roll the stock as well as those guys are, and I can't block as well at level 2 after that sort of line. And so I like having stock for a finisher.
What truly helps is landing 5 out of 6 after doing 2 turns of level 1 comboing. Really sets up the situation really well.
Yeah.
Try that.
So.
Try to do that.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
I'm just not, I just don't find the list to be consistent enough to try to, index into that gameplay. But maybe I'm trolling. And actually, I saw the list. I compared my 2 or higher count for the stock. It's just the same. So
math is a fickle thing. Sometimes...
If you can't tell, BCS Houston just wrapped up. BCS Pasadena literally tomorrow as we are recording this. And the rest of the BCS 25-26 season is coming in just a month. So we're going to be, this episode is all about that. After you shuffle your decks, tap or cut, and we'll get right into the refresh point with some breaking news. you know what? The episode got so delayed by like holidays and crap. I did not get like a fun breaking news intro music for that segment. But I'll have it for this episode. Oh. So breaking news. BCS Houston just wrapped up this previous 3 weekends ago. Let's say 3 weekends ago. At a hotel, not Game Guys. Very cool. Top 3, Long, Johnny, and Carter. What is it? Long, a long-time viewer, friend of the podcast, SoCal player. Johnny, friend of a friend of the podcast, as it is, works at Little Spectacles out in Las Vegas. Carter, previously literally been on the show, won BCS Philadelphia last year, and 2 of those players were playing 8 standby Hollow Live, much to the chagrin of one Aaron, who had previously been playing Hollow Live, been convinced not to play it, and pivoted to Nikkei, and then watched 2 Hollow Live lists make it to Worlds that weekend. That's a hard call out to one of our supporters. And as for the rest of the breaking news, there is none. Great times. We went to BCS Houston. It's the Spy Corner. I played Review Starlight because, to be frank, I was pretty out of it. And it made me question why I signed up for the tournament, as I had the worst luck basically ever, had 2 close games go to 0-2, first 0-2 start of a tournament ever, and then keep playing because there's nothing else to do, curb stomp a fairly new player into just get the bad end of luck into a TRV player, and then go to lunch.
Yeah, kind of a rough tournament for the refresh point in general. I went 2-2 drop. Really scary matchup in round 1 against JoJo, which is uniquely positioned to screw over my deck, since it's got like about 10,000 minus power cards. So I literally can't put the card down for the first 2 levels. And
which one? The bounce back?
The bounce back,
yeah,
correct.
Yeah, sure.
And so I was playing Overlord.
Yeah, I fought him round 2.
Yeah.
You got the win, and then I got the loss. That's how that would go.
Yeah, he was playing the full minus power package, every piece of it, including the finisher from set 1 on bar. So barely squeaked by into a GGO player who's literally Thanos for the entire game, followed by I got energy bent by the Atlas in a nice piece of irony. After 2 bars, stocked 2 bars. So that was really exciting and a fun way to get knocked out of an event. But we learned a lot. And
that's good. I'm glad you learned a lot.
Yeah, what we mostly learned is that everything old is new again, and the meta is just a gross slurry of the sets that were good 2 years ago, plus like a fistful of Bang Dream decks, and then 1 or 2 people playing some other stuff.
I feel like this was no. We've been saying this.
Yes.
We've been saying that.
But a really important note here is the most represented set in the tournament was not Bang Dream.
Right.
It was not Nikkei.
Sure.
It was not Hollow Live.
Right.
It was not anything that you would guess.
Okay.
Or maybe you would guess. I don't know. I wouldn't have guessed it. 17% of the Houston event is Azer Lane. 17%. That is insane. And here's what it means.
Actually, no, hold on. We have literally every single list from that event. We can know if all of the lists were cats or not.
The thing is that if it's not an enterprise list, it's just a cat list, and the rest of it can be anything, but you could be certain that it's a cat list. And one way or the other, what we've learned is that coin flipping is something that the Houston community is willing to accept as a viable strategy for winning tournaments. One way or the other. Either deck, actually.
Right. Sure.
So, we love coin flipping, apparently. But Only one Azure Lane deck made it to top 16, so hopefully the takeaway is coin flipping does not win Weiss Schwarz games. Don't do it.
Yeah,
don't
the
do
top
it.
16 Azure Lane list was choice, standby with the
hardest coin flip list that you could make.
Yeah. Cats is actually the only green cards in the list. It's going into the 2/2 that stands itself and the 3/2 that's Alice at Home.
And that also stands itself.
That also stands itself, and it goes into the choice. Then everything, and now I'm curious. I'm gonna go through this whole thing. I think the next Azure Lane list was actually just in 29th or 24th, excuse me.
So
8 bar, so that's Cats.
Yep.
Followed by 8 bar, another Cats.
Yep.
So we have 3 Cats present Azure Lane lists already. 46. Then 8 bar, more Cat. We're catting it up.
Yeah, so
48th Cat.
We're going to rapidly fall into the bottom half of this tournament, but everything in the top 50% is Cats or Cats adjacent.
Standby choice.
That's Cats.
1 Enterprise so far. First Enterprise in at 74th.
Yeah, that's half the event. So in the top 50%, we have 4 lists out of the possible 26, and they're all Cats. So the takeaway, hopefully, is do not do this at a tournament. This will not work. It will work if you have God's own luck, which is what several players had, but it is not a good long-term tournament strategy. However,
honestly, it's almost sad that nearly all of the Enterprise Azure Lane lists placed below most of the Cat lists.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, what should
literally
be
all of the bottom half of the placing, of the placing Azure Lane players are Enterprise players.
Yeah.
Smooch.
So, but what the real takeaway should be is that 11 people entered with HoloLive and 4 people made top 16 and 2 people went to Worlds. So,
yep.
That's what we
VTubers.
That's what we in the business call great conversion. So, if 4 of the 11 make top 16, that's pretty solid conversion in my book.
Mm-hmm.
But these 4
and Slime as well. Also,
yes. So 7 slime play, even better. 7 slime players went, 3 in the top 16, 2 in the top 8. So these sets from 2 years ago are still broken, guys. I'm afraid we haven't raised the power level of the meta.
I don't know about broken,
even a little
especially,
bit.
But like, yeah, they're still clearly capable of winning tournaments. Still clearly near the top. Yeah.
Yes, and extremely powerful conversions. Now you have 23 Bang Dream lists and 2 people in top 16, none in top 8. So if you were thinking that Bang Dream should be restricted, I think you are not thinking straight. Maybe you're just a absolute hater. I don't know. You're allowed to be that. I hate this Cat stuff, but it's clearly not good enough to win tournaments. Would I like to see it banned forever? Sure. But, that's not appropriate. Rounding out your top 16 is a handful of other stuff being played by dedicated players playing it well. So I guess we're obliged to have one Rurouni Kenshin in every top 8 playing the most psychotic deck they can build.
It's not that psychotic.
It's not as psychotic, but they're both pretty psychotic.
No. The 8 stock soul pile has a fairly reasonable early game where you have like a stock bomb that's a free climax swap for stock soul. You have a mill 5 brainstorm that also has a second mode of basically tap to Kazuma. Right? To keep digging for climaxes anyways. Your combo has hand encore in middle position, besides being on reverse, check top twice at all characters. And you just generally have a good enough amount of tools to navigate your way through the early mid game while slamming a stock soul damn near every single turn.
Yeah, so here's where you lose me.
The finisher is where you should be lost.
Yes, not just that, but also 8 of the worst trigger imaginable. Like, we could kibitz all day about the triggers. None of them are worse than Double Soul. None of them.
Yeah?
I would rather have Pool than Double Soul.
Damn.
But But what's good about Double Soul is that sometimes you'll sack the crap out of your opponent and that'll feel nice.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing here. It hurts your own finisher because it's a restand finisher.
Of course.
Right?
We can't have anything nice.
Yeah. It's a Fumio and restand finisher. The restand mechanic is You mill the top end of the attack, pay some costs. If it has a soul trigger, then restand. Hear me out though, guys. You have an assist 1/1 that says check top 3 on climax play to and rearrange. So hear me out. We were always going to, number 1, add whatever cards we wanted with the 1 combo. Number 2, restand with the finisher.
Yeah, I mean, that's 100% true.
Yeah.
But
also it's 8 stock sold, so it's a little sad sometimes.
So to talk about some of the novel stuff here, the stuff at the top of the the first, second, third here, this is the most relatively standard licorice list, followed by the 2 most vanilla standby lists, running pretty much the same stuff that those decks have run since ever. The Azure Lane deck is very novel. I don't think I've seen a build for that. It's been
a thing. Yeah.
Has it been a thing?
Yeah, it's existed as an idea. Just
all right.
Standby stuff into Unicorn is probably the cheapest, most explosive thing that you can put on the board. It has cantrip, like it's
yeah. We've got
standby into Alice at Home. We lead with cats. Question mark, question mark, question mark. We win.
Yeah. So we have a Diablo list here. Very cool. In 7th, we have Diablo plus the Rimuru set 1 finisher.
This is a slime deck, but this is a wind choice slime list with the set 3 Diablo, like Steve just said, combined with that set 2 choice finisher that allows for multi-attack. Spoilers, I vibe heavy with this deck.
Yeah, so what's good about this deck is that it can build a phenomenal amount of resources and use those resources to basically cash out any sort of plays that they want to make in the end game. So pretty explosive from a finishing perspective. We're talking about like 7 to 8 packets in the very high end. The downside,
honestly, I think it's like, I think it's 8 to 9 packets on the high end, and the low end is like 6 to 7. Like, it's fairly cheap. Like, it's like a tricky amount of cheap. So 8 stock. Okay.
Yeah, but what I mean is that 8 packets is everything.
Yeah.
Plus Benimaru.
No.
Yes.
Plus Benimaru is 9 packets.
Okay. How is it 9 packets?
Okay, we swing 1, 2, 3, 4. But, 8 packets. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry.
All right. So 8 is I would consider to be the peak of like what you can probably pull off in
9
most
games. 9 is the peak in the sense of if you have that extra stock, then you can field a Benimaru.
Yeah,
right?
Or you can buy a Millum or something.
Either way.
Yeah, if you had 2 more stock, but you would need a cartoonish amount of money at that point.
I mean, it's 10 stock.
How about a dangerous amount of money?
Yeah, sure.
You also need Diablo to work, and so the actual downside of the deck is if you happen to be facing some kind of very wiggly sort of deck, Overlord particularly not good. But any decks with JCs or the ability to deny reverses can be kind of frustrating for Diablo. Power is usually not the good way to deny it. They have a saver that gives 1500 power.
And there's also a card that I'm gonna be running this weekend that's on attack, give power, and shuffle back too.
Yeah.
Right. For no side penalty, so you can power up over something else. Put targets that you want to maybe find in the deck, or if the deck is small, really put targets that you want to find in the deck, that sort of thing.
Yeah, so not as big of a deal in the current meta. Not a lot of ways to deny level 1 reverses in the current meta. So
yeah, there hasn't been a Gaku Moss to really shift the meta against reverse combos at level 1.
Yeah, so really nice list. I like it a lot. The only thing I don't like is the wind trigger obviously is pretty weak, but I think getting guaranteed double resources kind of makes up for that enough. The rest of the packages look pretty, I mean, they're pretty slime packages. You've seen most of them before. I think we're obviously getting the hexproof package in there, plus some other pieces that are a little less common. To make sure there's a level 1 they run that slams a level 0 from the board, from the waiting room. Yep. So you can use that to recover the saver, a brainstorm, some kind of utility piece, whatever. Lots of good stuff. So yeah, pretty novel build, but not one that no one's ever tried. Just haven't tried for a while. Meta's really suited for it. I think it's good.
I'm literally playing it this weekend.
So we know Ben thinks it's good.
I vibe with it heavy. And the thing is, in playtesting, the funny thing is, I've actually stock swapped more people with this list in like the last 2 weeks than I did with Muron list, like in recent times. The either standby or door list, because
I think only the standby list.
Standby can even try to get away with it, and even then, everything has to be going right? Like, you have the Muron set up into level 2, and you have the stock swap, and you got the money, and everything's okay, then you can do it. Yeah. Whereas this list, it's like, step 1, resolve your 1 combo. Step 2, your Milim is in hand. Step 3, stock swap.
Yeah,
whenever you want.
I think there are similar issues in the sense of like you need to make sure you have the combo and it goes off. But I think there are better.
It unlocks earlier than Muron in the sense of you're trying to do a 1 combo, right? And it can be argued that if you're not doing your 1 combo at 1, and then also not at 2, you're probably going to lose the game.
Yeah.
Right. So by default, the standard outcomes should be that you're going to resolve 1 or 2 of the Diablo combo at 1.
I would think if you don't get 2 of the Diablo combo at 1, something either very unlucky or very unfortunate has happened to you.
Right. Or if you don't get like double combo over 2 turns, right?
Right.
Like if you resolve 1 on 1 turn because they have an empty board, but then you do it the next turn, you've kind of like slow rolled your way into the same like stock state.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think there's some clean cuts in the meta that could keep you from getting like the best possible outcomes, particularly if the slime player is going first.
Yeah.
And then levels too quickly. Then maybe you can only get 1 Diablo. But the cancels have to come at some point if the game is going to stay normal. So if you didn't cancel at 0, hopefully, maybe it's possible you could have 2 turns at 1, and then you'll be able to recover the tempo of the game.
But kind of on the average, right?
Yeah, I think you'll get it.
You'll get it pretty much all the time.
Yeah, 2 or 3 times a game, probably.
And you even have to sculpt less kind of things to hand for finishing.
Yeah.
Right? It's not a list that's playing defensive counters because, to be honest, you're probably not going to have a board where it's going to matter unless you get really lucky with like your end game board state, right?
Yeah, it's one of those decks that just has a bunch of question marks at its mid game where it's like, I'm going to play this guy that can kill a targeted thing to upset you, and then that's about it. There's some healers. Maybe.
This list doesn't even run healers.
Yeah. I think that's probably not correct. I think you should at least run some healers for the game states that don't fit the model of like, well, I'm just going to finish them. Like sometimes you need to slow the game a little bit. The 2-1 is kind of a frustrating card for a lot of decks and can like permanent removal is pretty valuable in the meta right now. So
yeah, and for reference, this is a 2-1 base 3k on attack gains 10k and on reverse sends the opponent character to their stock. Bottom stock comes out.
Yeah, so just a power crept version of a couple other cards that were older that have similar text. It's a fine answer. It works great. I have no complaints. It permanently removes an annoying card.
Honestly, and the funny thing is, if you don't permanently remove it, and the slime list has the Operation Dress Up on board, that it's like the saver.
Yeah, the saver. Yeah.
So that if they don't permanently remove it, you can even save that and just be like, ha 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 ha.
Yeah, so that's kind of an annoying piece for Nikkei players where they were probably counting on losing 1 Alice, but losing 2 is like a bit frustrating. And
I mean, they're gonna top deck the thing, right? So.
Yeah.
But win trigger, if more people see Houston and like play standby stuff in Pasadena, this win trigger is gonna be really funny.
Can be, yeah.
Already playing into some Nikkei, hilarious. Dude, I absolutely love random like triggering win, bounce the sin into their hand, I beat over their just the funniest garbage.
Speaking of some funny garbage, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this Kaguya list really quick. Kaguya made top 16, guys.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It got 9th. And I know the person who played it, and
oh, nice.
It's one of the homies from Oklahoma.
Cool.
Really nice guy. Really novel build. So let's talk about what this build does.
Talk to me about the presence of the standby.
So we have a reintroduction of standby to this deck. So what we have here is Pants Standby Door. So we're trying to get the best of every single world that exists in Kaguya. So what we want is the door finisher. Obviously, that's the best finisher. What we want is the pants combo. That's obviously the best one combo. What we need to fill in the middle of the game is some stuff. And so the some stuff that he has chosen is the Miyuki Tutu standby combo. So what it does is on play, you put your guy down and then you choose a character.
No. It's when this card, okay, if this card is in center stage, this has to already be down. Then when climax is played, you can bounce a character to hand, and this card gets the ability choose another character and stand it.
Right.
So you can stand out another thing. This thing, the 2/2 within itself, has to have already existed.
Right. So it clears the way for a character to come on from standby and then immediately take effect. So,
which, not for nothing,
the character that's probably going to get chosen 99% of the time is this blue Kaguya. It gives 1500 to the entire stage, as several of those type of characters do, and then pay 1, ditch 1 to Icy Tail 3.
Oof.
This is
Icy Tail 3. That's a TD card for sure.
Yeah.
An old one. I know Modernia exists. An old one.
Yeah.
All right.
So what we have is a whole bunch of board manipulation for power, where we have the eye bounce back, we have this thing's return to hand plus other effects, we have this big Kaguya, we have a lot of like field presence. We have 4 of this on climax stock charger. I wonder how often this actually like cracks off, but also, interestingly, we have a Romantic Battle of the Brains, which is the red Kaguya event. It's a replay event, which has not really been part of the game for a very long time. But what it does is we draw a card, and then we choose up to 3 of our characters, and they get the following 2 abilities. And the 2 abilities are, you can't side attack, and I can side attack without decreasing souls. What does this mean? Well, this Kaguya finisher works cross turn. So if you have to front into it, you can get burned cross turn, which is annoying at best. And it also allows you to dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge any sort of counterplay during your opponent's turn. Very cool. Very nice splash card for
during
the meta.
your turn, in the sense that you can side attack them.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So
very cool splash card. Very nice flavor card. It lasts through your opponent's turn, so you get the effects of both. You don't have to choose. It's just very interesting. I would be curious to know how those games went. But very unique build.
It's a pretty streamlined list too.
Yeah.
Like for all of the jank is in the configuration within itself. But we have pretty much 4 of all of the key pieces here that we want, excepting, funnily enough, the level 0 goodness. That's the Chikoriki and the K Mill Runner clean cut.
This is also one of the lowest 0 counts I've witnessed in a Weiss Schwarz deck in a really long time. What happens when you have 12 level 1s is that you don't get to have a lot of level 0s. This deck has like 16 0s, which is low. So mulligan aggressively. Is...
Hey, he's got 4 drop surges.
Yeah, that's good. We're gonna need him.
Yeah.
So
got him. All right.
Really interesting build. Congratulations, really well done.
Great times.
We also have a sort of atypical free run deck here in top 16. Finished 14th. What we're talking about is choice pants.
Let's put the free and fair in.
You don't often see choice pants in free run, mostly because the synergy with pants is quite strong, and also this choice combo is kind of whatever. But it's not bad. It's check 4, add 1, which is the most trial deck combo that you can have at this point. So we're leaning into a more yellow-centric game in the mid game, or in the early game. So we have the Aizen paired with the Himmel. So Aizen is a ditch to look at 4 for a adventure or magic character and put it into your hand, and then it's just like a 5/5. And then we have our Himmel combo, which is check 4, add 1. So we have turbo deck speed, all of our level 1s mill 4. And we also get the -1 souls Aizen at level 2. along with a weirdly high amount of the Homeland Flower, Frieren, and Himmel early play, which has burn 4. So
I mean, it's 3.
3 feels like a lot.
All right.
But standard TD finisher and TD finisher brainstorm
Might also want to have like a half decent soul count for the choice trigger that's in the list.
Yeah, that's true. So we have 19 triggers, which 4 of those are climaxes, so 14 really. So that's interesting. And then also of note, interesting, they decided to opt for the money counter instead of opting for the basic attack magic, which is what you more commonly see paired with the TD finisher. So instead of pairing the damage...
You know what? This player has discovered that burn 4 doesn't kill anybody, so let's just live their thing.
Yeah,
Big
the only
trick.
downside to the defensive magic counter is, of course, you need a full field. So with the nature of the way the game is, sometimes that can be really challenging, particularly against certain opponents who will either bounce the characters back to your hand or send your characters to difficult zones where you can't recover them. So really interesting build, really interesting zero game. Like, I don't think I've ever seen this. They have a bottom deck helmet, search helmet. Yeah. Which is a really nice card, and I definitely like it. I don't think I've ever seen it in a list. And then we have the clock swap Kane, which also lets you look at the top of the deck. Also rare to see. Usually,
I mean, it's a good effect.
It's a fine effect. Yeah. It's just
for grabbing events and stuff.
Slightly
like
uncommon. Slightly uncommon.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah.
I definitely like checking. I think. The one thing that's changed about me most as a Weiss Schwarz player over the course of the last few years is that I am really pro checking the top 2 and reordering and really anti not checking the top 2 and reordering. Because the loss condition that occurs in Weiss Schwarz whenever your first attack on your first turn at level 1 triggers a climax is one of the more frustrating things in all of Weiss Schwarz. So unless you want to play with a 7 climax deck, it's probably best that you have some way to check that. So there's a Fern that does it for this set, and it's a level 0 bomb and checks 2, and then you can either reorder them or pitch them, or you have quite a fine-grained control there. So I kind of dig that card a lot. But yeah, this is a very reasonable build. It's very interesting. The Eisen does kind of put a band-aid over what is the standard problem for a Frieren deck in the mid-game, which is, what do I do at level 2? Because a lot of their early plays are either 2-stock early plays, which is kind of annoying, or questionable early play conditions like the Frieren, where you need a crap load of events in the waiting room, which can be very frustrating to pull off. So
yeah, I mean, if I had a nickel for every list that had the choice triggering in the top 16 that had a random level 2 that could answer board, I'd have 2, which isn't a lot, but it is funny that we have 2 of them. Yes.
The rest of this top 16 is a lot of decks you've seen before, or a lot of decks that you used to have seen before and now you're seeing again. We've got like 4 flavors of Hololive here.
Dude, I love Kaneda Marine. In the year of our Lord 2025, right before she graduated.
I know.
That's rough, buddy.
Yeah, Kaneda Marine, still good. Still good. Nothing surprising. Very much the standard build with the few things that it's gotten since then. Nothing really noteworthy there. We have a Miko Sora Marine, which is kind of like a new take on an old ambitious deck where we want the best of every world imaginable. We want fast anti-damage paired with also cheap finishing, also with possible pluses. So we're just gonna try and cram all of that into one deck. It did very well. So
yeah, I mean, just draw the door.
The thing is that Sora is fairly well positioned in the meta. Outside of the slime matchup, there's very few decks that can bully Sora at level 2. Yeah, I think that Sora is a fine choice for the meta, if not a frustrating one due to time limits. So
True. We're kind of in that spot where it'll be that kind of push and pull that eventually people will remember that lots of standby board stuff is good against vanilla 1K1 soul stuff.
For sure, yeah. And
it's like,
I think it's regional. I think it's regional.
I don't know that's just gonna be regional. I feel like it's only just starting, right? There's only been the 2 US tournaments.
Yeah, but what I mean is that when you look at the tournaments from everywhere else on the Earth,
Sure. Fair.
there's one slime player in the entire tournament. And then in Houston, for whatever reason, there's like a fuckload of them. And it's mostly us, and I hate you guys. But also,
I wasn't even part of it this time.
I know.
You can't even blame me.
I know. Also, a cool thing to point out that we didn't point out earlier and definitely should have. The winner of the Houston event, Panda,
We did.
completed a
kind
of a historic run in the Bushiroad games. He has now
That we happen to know of. Theoretically, it's possible.
He is
somebody
now
else
qualified for Worlds in every one of the Bushiroad card games that can be played here in America.
did. That's true.
Which is a tremendous feat and speaks to his skill as a player. So yeah, I'm absolutely congratulations to that. One thing I do want to talk about is do we think that this there's a lot of standby here. Do we think that that's an aberration or is that a response?
Like I was saying, I think it can be the start of a response. Some people at this tournament, at the very least, saw that we are in a lot of 1K 1 soul deck territory right now. And traditionally, 8 standby or big board standby things have been successful into those sorts of metas, especially when the finishers are not Gura, not Aki explosive, right?
Yeah.
Because previously in those metas, you can slow down the game, take advantage of the board like advantage enough to live and like kind of grind your way through to the end.
Right.
Now, the finisher is like on cancel Dolores for like the biggest, kind of quote unquote boogeyman in the room, which, Hololive with its 6-hand and rest counter in it is kind of looking at like, all right, yeah, okay. And there's not that much scaling to be done if you have like, if you start getting like the setup, right? You get the assists, you get the Lunas, you get counters in hand. Like they got the 2-1 assist and the healer, and that's about it. The Wika is an 8K, 10K optimistically, right?
Yeah, so I think that there's a limited amount of power that Bang Dream can reach.
Exactly.
And the other thing is that,
and even like we said, Bang Dream wasn't even the biggest boogeyman. Azure Lane was the biggest share of the tournament. Bang Dream was effectively at the same representation as like, I don't know, like, let me see here. Bang Dream was effectively the same representation, barely underneath Azure Lane.
Yeah.
Near the same as Nikkei. Like,
well, they had a very high representation, but not just Hololive standby, but in particular Hololive standby, but also we have in the top 16. I didn't talk about it because it's kind of a normal build, but we had Ruby standby, Slime standby, Kaguya standby, Hololive standby, Azure Lane standby. Like 5 full different sets, all running standby, all with the same game plan, which is to bully the crap out of you. And so with power. And Bang Dream does not have good responses to that, generally speaking. So maybe all of this standby is a rebuke of like, I don't want to face these Bang Dream decks, therefore I want to make their life as difficult as possible, therefore I am just going to bully them on the board with my big dudes.
and thus, as well then, how much do you as the prospective Pasadena player index into, the standby stocks?
Well, and that's the thing, right? Is
Right.
that by choosing to play...
or Duluth, because this episode will probably be coming out, in like a week or so.
Right.
So like, you as the Duluth Philly player,
Yeah.
right? How much are you indexing in this rebuke, the standby stocks?
Well, that's the thing, right? Is that in an ideal world, I think that California will have a heavy standby output just because of the nature of the region. I've been to a bunch of California events. The region is very standby heavy. The region is very Hololive heavy. The region is very Quint heavy. It's just, that's how they like to play Weiss Schwarz. they have more of the Japan influence in them. And so
unironic physical
yeah. Not just physical distance, but like they play the game in a similar way. They like trigger assurance. They like board presence. They like the hug that you get from being on the board and just overpowering your opponent. So I'm expecting this trend to continue at least through Pasadena. This is a good reason to play Overlord. In case you were curious, this is a very good reason to play Overlord.
If you don't win this one, Steve, I'm disowning you forever. Right?
That's a heck of an ask.
Joking.
But it's true. I think that, if you have a way to disrupt the board in a very fundamental way, then that could be a strength, going into this type of meta, because they're not going to be hitting you as hard. So the game will go slower naturally, and naturally that will lead to advantages for you. And so that's a good thing, and a good reason to take the deck. But, there are downsides. You're going against, a very defensive deck, and so that magnifies the weakness of whatever your finishing might be. So you'll have to take careful stock of what you think your deck does and weigh it against what you think you're going to be facing. The Hololive decks, they don't really start to ramp until 2, but the ramp becomes pretty significant pretty quickly, and it's very similar to many other decks that ramp off at 2. If they get to the ramp up and then they start canceling, then the game is going to take a very dark turn. So it's hard to deal with, unless you have one of the good answers to Luna. It's hard to deal with Luna. She will force open lanes, which can usually force more damage. She will force burn 1s, which usually can accelerate the game in a negative way. So there's a lot of consideration to take about, results like this, because if you're gonna play Bang Dream, you might have to start looking at what your deck looks like and how many slots you have to work with.
I mean, not for nothing, they have a 2-1 that gives 2 characters 3 Slayer, right? It's like,
yeah,
they have options.
They have a million cards.
Yeah.
Like, they have a million cards. You could play anything. They have 1/1s that send early characters to memory. There's lots of choices you could make. But those choices are worth thinking about, because this is possible that this could be a response to what you're doing. It's very possible. There's no answer for cats. I don't know what to tell you. You need to not take 2 levels of damage at 0. If that happens, then the game is pretty rough, and it's kind of hard to recover it, particularly if they're playing the standby version, which is going to keep accelerating the tempo and the posture of the game more and more and more and more over the course of the game, followed by a very dangerous finisher.
One of the truest mono red vibe decks in recent memory for Weiss, I think. Yeah. It is very much the idea of spend down every possible resource I have to kill you. There are no other options.
It's very similar to the Rurouni Kenshin deck that we saw make top 8 at Rosemont.
And even arguably for the Rurouni Kenshin deck, there's something leading up to it, right? You have an advantage combo that you can kind of lean on at least a little bit. You don't have to necessarily go all in. Yeah. But Cats, by its very nature, once the Cats board gets answered, you need to be ahead.
There's several coin flips that can lead to nearly instant game loss. The first one happens before the game actually begins. If the cat player has to go first, it's a significant disadvantage. And it's one of the few times in Weiss Schwarz where the person who's decided to go first or second has a significant advantage or disadvantage. So you want to go second against this deck. Also, you just need to block a little bit. And it doesn't even have to be that much. But if you take 2 4s and a 3, then it's, it's not over, but the climaxes have to be somewhere. But you are probably now looking at a 20-ish card deck that's very climax dense. And so if you double trigger or if you double draw, then it creates a negative feedback loop where it starts to become worse and worse and worse and worse as your resources degrade and as the damage keeps piling in.
Then, as your resources degrade, they're leveraging both of the standby combos to try to upkeep board that hopefully you can't answer because, again, like we've mentioned, it's kind of expected a lot of 1k1s running around the meta right now. And so, the 2-2 probably lives, the 3-2 can get value, top decking your guys just like Alice, getting some extra damage in, and if all of that goes through, then it doesn't matter if they have one unicorn or no unicorns at the end, because they just need to finish off your dead corpse.
Yeah, and the biggest dilemma against cats is how to answer them. Because if you don't hit level, even if you hit level 1, unless your hand is really set up for it, like, they have like 4,500 power. And there's just not a lot of zeros running around the meta now that can deal with that. That's too big. And especially in a meta where we've pivoted a lot of our zero game to utility. You might have one card in your whole deck to kill that. And if you don't kill it, it just keeps happening. They don't have any subtlety. It's a brick to the face. And so if you don't disrupt it, it's just going to keep happening. And even if you do disrupt it, it might just keep happening anyway. So there's a non-trivial problem facing this set. So that might influence your deck building choices as well. If you have ways to answer that, especially in multiple lanes, that could be a good thing.
Yeah, I think the actual most cursed outcome into cats is almost like maybe like blocking too much
and then
like getting stuck at 0.
Yeah.
You get stuck at 0, then you have empty lanes, then they dome you for 5/5/5.
Yeah.
Now you're level 2.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Yeah, it's one of the classic conundrums in Weiss Schwarz of you need to block the right amount, not too much and definitely not too little, but it's a type of card where you're going to have to face several coin flips directly in a row, and if you get the wrong end of all of them, then the game death spirals on you immediately. It's a really disgusting feeling, and it sucks when it happens. But it can happen. But the important thing, and I cannot stress this enough, it is important to realize that you need to keep your head in the game. Do not crash out if you go to level 2 at 0. The climaxes are somewhere. And if you can get the board flattened out and stable, then you can come back into the game. Because the thing is, they usually whale out all their resources, as Ben was saying earlier. They're going to crack all of their stock, all of their hand. They're not going to there's no backstop to this thing. It's a speeding bullet train. And if you manage to slow it down or stop it, then you're kind of in the driver's seat at that point. Because
I mean, even
they can't really come back into the game.
Even for the audio commentary that I may or may not have forgotten to upload before coming to record, unlucky. But for the semis game, I think it was that Panda was playing into the Azure lane, cat standby choice player. He got domed a little bit, stabilized the whole game, and there was a turn where the Azure lane player played standby'd unicorn to the back, pass turn.
Yeah, and it's because he cracked off 2 of the searchers, filled his entire board with cats, and went ham. And he, the Lycoris player took a lot of damage, but not a mortal amount of damage. So it's critical to understand where the game is and how to play your way out of it. Now, sometimes you can, sometimes you can't, but if they liquidate a whole bunch of their hand and resources into trying to just murder you and you survive, then you now have the tempo of the game. You have the edge in the game. Especially if they try to stabilize off of standby and then you remove the stabilization point with some sort of tech card, or perhaps you have anti-level counter or something like that disrupts the board in a fundamental way, then you're so back at that point. And so it's important to remember that even if you get domed for 2 levels, it's not over just yet. There can be a stabilizing point in the game.
Yep. Lot of tangents in this episode, just kind of going over a lot, and that's okay. Take a moment here. I'm playing Nguyen Slime to Pasadena, which was I mentioned to somebody recently that I'm very much a mixed vibes reason player.
Yeah.
Where there are players that are pure vibes, and there are players that are deeply analytical, and I strike a little bit in the middle.
I think I do as well.
Yeah. And so the vibes on the win choice list were very good. And then I was like, hold the roll. Is it actually fairly good? So there's a lot of things kind of going for it right now. Number one, if we're expecting, some more standby things to happen, the mid-game tools for that list, like the Hakuru that perma removes, win by itself, deeply funny trigger, and into Hololive 8 in particular, the Ricky, where you're just like, what if you hold that Luna?
Yeah.
Just have that back.
Yeah.
And even the stock swap within itself, like, I run 2 copies, like, maybe just like bomb one of them with it, right?
Yeah.
All those things combined, there's kind of a funny amount of answers into a kind of expected standby presence. And the game plan is fairly resilient in the sense of I'm at least running, some climax getting. We're playing very careful with the climaxes that we get to hand, because as long as you get 2 resolutions of Diablo, you are kind of set. Like, double resolution, like, I mathed it out. So if on average we do a game going first, right? I swing once with Milim Chaser, bangers. Step 2, I Ricky, then I swing 2 to 3 times. Then next turn, double combo. That's 7 to 8 stock going into either the second turn of 1 or the first turn at 2. And 8 stock by itself already being enough to crack off the decent version of the finisher, right?
Yeah, and what I'll say is that if you're playing a combo that has multi-resource add, and there's a few of them in the game, Diablo being one of the better of them in terms of flexibility.
Because you get it could be considered better or worse, but I'm a filthy deck milling gremlin, so I love the fact that Diablo is check up to 4 and then get 1 to hand, 1 to stock.
I like it.
And also, because of the nature of your finisher, you really only need to know where they are with one of them being in your hand.
Yeah, and the reality is that I like Diablo better than I like either Modernia or the GGO version of it, where they stock from one end of the deck or the other end of the deck, because the Modernia end of it will stock valuable cards that you want in the mid game, and the GGO one is stocking blind, and that's just psychotic. But so I like the combo, and what's also nice is that it's got that explosive finishing we were talking about that standby decks don't like.
It's got the closest thing to it in this meta,
yeah.
Right? If you say explosive finishing like Gura, no, not exactly, but
I mean,
it's a good amount of packets.
What I'll say is, if you manage to significantly, like, get all the significant pieces in the right place, then 8 packets is a lot of packets, man. I mean, now obviously you have to play a little bit more delicately around decks that have rest counter, but you also have hexproof. So depending, maybe you don't. And so if you don't,
the only thing you need to worry about then is memory counter, and then again, maybe you don't.
Yeah, and so we're talking about like 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, some number 3. That's a lot of damage. Like, that can bring you back from like 2, 4, 2, 5, like, very doably. So, like, 8 packets is more packets than most decks are putting out nowadays. Now,
and also stock swap.
Yeah, I mean,
and also even the super high roll crap where choice lends you like more finishing where you might have not had it before.
Yeah, and so you can, if you run into the choice trigger, then it's possible that a okay finishing turn turns into a great finishing turn because you just hit them with even more stuff than they thought they could get hit with. So I like it from those perspectives. Now, again, We need reverses. So as long as we can get those reverses, then we're good to go. If we can't get the reverses, it's horrible. But I think we've said that we don't think that the meta is very reverse denial focused.
What is it? It's like even let's think about like the two Hololive standby variants right now. Just like thinking out loud. We have Polka, who's a 7/5. I don't think it standby Hololive runs 1 counters. Maybe I'm trolling. They might run Leafa. So that's like a 2K.
They can run Leafa, yeah.
So that's like a 2K. It's a 9/5, which is crashing into Diablo pumped up by the Saver.
Right. And so the Saver becomes the card that actually like overcomes the standard denial mechanics. So stuff like the Kanata Dancer or these type of cards where they're the normal shutdown cards.
And then if you get to being able to tri-field the card into a Choco board, let's say they have Choco and some guys. Well, Choco's an 8K, so we kill the Choco. Or if they can leave the counter the Choco and get the crack off on everything else, that's still probably only 2 lanes. You get 1 and you get to cope with it, right?
Yeah, and
which is a lot to ask. Anyways,
yeah, you do see this Muna support is starting to show up more and more in standby lists. It's their standard support for the back row now to go alongside whatever else is back there. It's a 1,000 to all and then tap to give a character on reverse bottom deck. So that's how they, that's part of the adaptation of dealing with removing problematic cards, but also it can push your Ayame cards to 8/5 and make you reach those like frustrating power points in the mid game.
Right?
No, Ayame or Polka, either way.
Sure.
Like whatever your level 1 is.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Either way, whoever it is.
Yeah, because if you're playing Choco combo, you're not going to run Polka because why would you? And then if you're playing Polka combo, you're not going to run Ayame because why would you? So Ayame is slightly... Nope, they're the same size. Yeah, both 7/5. So...
but even so,
yeah.
It's even not a... It's not like... It's an average outcome for the deck to have like triple 1/1s,
yeah,
or like double 1/1, 1/2/2 on the board, and it's not a standby deck that runs extra like free level 1s.
Yeah,
that might exist even to even be kind of backed up in a sense, right?
Yeah. So Carter's build ran some level 1 bombs, but I think those are mostly to remove problem targets that they can't remove otherwise. And then the other build did not run anything else at level 1, and didn't run any level 1 backups. So not really caring if the card gets removed, just living with it. And they do usually have some kind of tricky maneuver like the Shion that lets you swap 2 of your opponent's characters, or forces 2 of your opponent's characters to swap.
Yep.
So they can like do some tricky stuff later. But usually at level 1, it is what it is. Like there's not going to be that much board to resist Diablo with. He's 8K.
He's 8K without anything.
There you go.
Right.
So 8K is going to get over.
You need one Rimuru. Yeah. To be on the board. Which, hear me out. Your Ricky says Rimuru. Your back row says Rimuru. We can make something.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like 1 Rimuru is not a problem. Yeah. So yeah, 8K is going to get the job done. So my biggest problem with the BCS right now, and if you listen to the previous episode, you're probably well aware at this point, is that I hate this meta. It's there are no decks that I vibe with and no sets that I want to play. So I'm playing Overlord because I already played it and I think it's good. It is the type of deck, speaking of decks that need to win a couple coin flips in a row, it is that type of deck also where you kind of need the game to at least be half decent or you're going to just die sad and alone. But it definitely does okay into the meta, almost regardless of what the meta is, just of the nature of how the deck plays. You do need to have, and I'm planning on rectifying this on the trip over. I didn't do it for Houston and I regretted it. I need to memorize all the decks that have level 1 anti-early counters, and I need to memorize all the decks that just don't run anti-early counters for any real reason. I know Bang Dream typically doesn't, and a lot of times we'll have board for you to side into either way, but you kind of need to know that information so that you can make the most informed decision. The downside of playing Overlord against standby decks is that they will typically have bigger dudes with higher levels on the board that will inhibit your first combo turn and force you to side attack for either very low damage or no damage. So that's bad. But overall, blowing up your opponent's entire board, usually disruptive to their game state. Hard to play a tap counter that requires 5 characters in hand when I just removed 5 characters from the board. So there is that. I can't wait for this meta to end.
Why not play Hololive?
Me?
Yeah. What is wrong with a good old Kali Maureen?
Yeah, nothing really. You know, I built
or
it. Or
Caligura.
I have it together, right? I have Kali Marine together.
All right, yeah.
But what's wrong with it? Nothing. There's nothing wrong with it at all.
But why don't you vibe with it anymore, Steve?
I never vibed with Kali Marine, really.
Okay.
I don't think I ever played it at a tournament. Not a singles tournament, for sure. But I feel like you're leaning the wrong direction if you pick Kali Marine in this current meta. You're leaning into the things that Nikke and other standby decks want you to do, which is you don't really fight for the board super well, and your mid game is really questionable. And so the other problem is that we're kind of entering this period where a whole bunch of decks are either compressing or denying. There's one deck that wants to deny compressing, but a lot of decks are compressing, and the more decks that are compressing, the worse it gets for decks that need to land 3s. And so having a whole bunch of soul triggers in your deck, you know, sounds really good until your opponent blocks on 3 a bunch of times. So I don't know. I think that the game plan that it wants to execute is fundamentally fine. I just don't know that it does anything particularly satisfying that sounds good in the meta. So, but I don't, you know, a big chunk of this is the back-to-backness with Houston. We've only had a couple weeks between Houston and Pasadena, or a few weeks.
Yeah, I definitely
there was a holiday week in there, and
yeah.
Like that week, I was traveling and I didn't do any Weiss stuff. And so I haven't had a whole lot of time to think about like what else I would like to play. There are a few decks I fuck with, but I just think that they just aren't good enough. Like, hand to God, I love playing 8 Pants Spy. I love playing 8 Pants Spy. I've been fiddling with 8 Pants Spy a lot over the last 2 weeks, but it's not good into this meta. It's not. You can't play a deck that has question marks as its mid game unless your finisher is broken. And that's...
Do you have question marks as your mid game?
You do, because they have one early play in the entire set, and the early play is an 8/5.
See, that's the thing. Is Fiona not good enough as both the mid game, early game?
No, because the problem is that 7/5 used to be a number you could kind of sit on. And it's possible that your opponent would either trade evenly with your 7/5s, or they would lose straight up to your 7/5s.
Or 8/5 if you have both back row.
Right. You can't count on that, because you're not going to have that much time to sculpt it, and you don't have that many good sculpting tools. So if you do have the 8/5, you're kind of gaming. But you won't have Tri-Field and 8/5 at level 1 very often, I am guessing. So the problem is that a whole bunch of combos are 8K vanilla now. Like, they just come out of the box 8K. And that makes playing a 7/5 that you kind of need to stay on the board really challenging. Now, the dog lets you get humongous. And so that's kind of cool, because then you can, you can carry this level 1 into the mid game and maybe still do some work. But if they had any way to keep the board more durable, or had a better mid game, then I think it would be a better deck. The problem is it has a weak mid game, and the game plan it wants to execute at level 1 is susceptible to getting absolutely clobbered. So that's what makes me skeptical about that deck in general.
All right. So, not 8-pan Spy. What other decks do you fuck with heavy?
So, I like that deck a lot. I like Freerin a lot. I've been playing quite a bit of 8-pan's Freerin, but also I just don't... too many games end where I just drop a bunch of 4s and 3s on my opponent and they live. And I don't know why they live, but they do. And so they...
Hey, that's spooky. Don't talk to me about that. I'm about to do that.
Yeah. they just compress and then they live. And it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know that burn 4, absent any other mechanics in the entire set to disrupt it, except for questionable stock shuffling, I don't know that that's the way to win.
Right.
You know, if your opponent's like compressed, I don't know how you hurt them. So at least the slime deck can disrupt the compression by stock swapping them, right?
Yeah.
You can't do that. You can think about doing something similar to that, but it in general, it's not as effective. So I like the deck. Again, I just don't think burn 4 is the type of finisher that can win Weiss Schwarz games consistently, absent any other mechanics. Now, you can try and work some other stuff in there, but they just don't have anything that fits. They don't have a way to accelerate it to, and they don't have a way to fight the compression. You need one of the two if you want your burn 4 finisher to work. So the reason Hendrickson works so well was because of that sneaky little, oh, what do you got on top there? What do you got on top there is what lets people die, because milling random climaxes while raining 4s down on your opponent is how they die. Also, they had Fumio. Also, they had stock swap. At one point, they had both. So it all sounds
They technically still have both.
Yeah, and so it sounds a lot better contextually when you can fuck with every part of the compression versus when you can't do anything about any of it. You don't have Fumio, you don't have stock swap. So in that context, burn 4 ain't it. So I like the deck. It's not gonna win. It's gonna have a hard time winning. And then of course, obviously,
you just really can never believe in stock shuffle, huh?
It just doesn't. The game states where it's good are even more rare than the stock swap ones.
Got it.
It's just like, if your opponent's got like 2 cards left in the deck, what is stock shuffle gonna do? It's just gonna put the exact same cards back in.
Yeah.
So they need to have like high compression and enough deck to actually manipulate some cards, and you need to get lucky as hell. So like, if you stock shuffle 8 cards into a 20 card deck with like 6 climaxes, yeah, you're gonna get some, right? But maybe 1.5-ish, right? Like, it's just, the math sucks on it. I don't know. And it's a level 3 event. Even the worst possible part of this is that it's a level 3 event that you have no way to grip. So you can't grip it with any character. You can't grip it with, you can grip it by event swapping, but you can't, it's hard to grip. So they don't have
so it's a grab.
Yeah.
You can grip it, whatever.
They don't have an event grabber.
Yeah.
In the whole set. An event-based set. So that sucks.
I mean, they have Fuga. It's
right.
the closest thing you got.
Yeah. It's a really good one, right? The Freerin that enters play and
it's actually Akatsuki.
It's actually just Akatsuki.
It's actually just
level
Akatsuki.
1 or higher.
Yeah. It's actually just Akatsuki.
And so it's phenomenal, but you have to really gamble hard. And then, of course, my enduring love for Atla will never cease as long as I live, the bar choice deck. But again, you're running into the exact same problems that are going to get worse over time, which is you don't do anything in the mid game, anything at all, nothing in the mid game. Your mid game is horrible. Now, you could make some adjustments in the sense that like you could run some different cards.
Yeah,
but your level 3 early play choices are both kind of bad, and you don't really want to use your resources that way anyway, because typically you're frantically trying to keep your resource stack together so that you can do your end game. So a lot of it comes down to, you have a few choices you can make on level 3s. You can either run the level 3 red or the level 3 blue. One is offense and one is defense, to try and change the dynamic of the way the game is going. But really, you're heavy dependent on the 2-1 proccing as many times as it can giving you as many cards and resources as it can so that you can do the rest of your end game. And then in the end game, you need to both get lucky by revealing the right cards, set up the right cards so that you can get lucky, and your opponent needs to be in a deck state to allow that to actually hurt them. If you have shuffle in after burn and they block and the only thing in the waiting room is climaxes, then the shuffle in does nothing. So you have a weak early game and a weak mid game, and then this tremendous end game.
Do you have a weak early game?
Yes. Your level 1 combo power requirement is built off of axe, and you do not have very many axe. So even getting over with your level 1 can be a challenge. Speaking of level 1s that can't get over on 8 Spy, that one. So, like, you have a weak level 1 that has a hard time getting over, and you have a weak level 2 where you can barely get over on anything. So your game is mostly a powerful 0 game followed by an extremely powerful level 3 game, and then a lot of question marks in the middle. So I love the deck more than anything, but it's a challenging meta for that deck.
For sure. All right, well then I guess you're still playing Overlord.
Overlord, and then reevaluate for Duluth. That's the plan.
I mean, yeah, like, why not Bang Dream after that?
Yeah, I mean,
just don't vibe with it.
It's fine. It's completely fine. I got no beef with Bang Dream.
All right.
I don't, all this anti-Bang Dream stuff is entering the meta. So you can either be in front of it and get run over like a train, or you can just acknowledge that it's happening and kind of sidestep it.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Actually, the real angle is that for BCS Philly, Fairy Tale will be legal.
Oh, yeah, I'm running that shit. Will it?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
What? We talked about this.
I know.
Literally last episode.
Trying to remember.
We said that all of the new things next year will only be legal at BCS Philly. And that is the one time. I think
one of them isn't, right?
I guess we could. Yeah, I mean, we could look again.
I can never remember the release dates. I try not to think about like upcoming sets because it's,
all right.
It's
so Eminence is the week before Worlds banger. Then Fujimi is literally at the same day. And Nazarick is in May before that. Then Girls Band Cry, for whatever reason, is still on the coming soon page just to taunt us and make us hope that it will happen.
It's good that they put it. I thought they removed it. Did they put it back?
It's on their coming soon page on Weiss Schwarz products.
All right.
So that is good.
Yeah. So Oshi is not legal.
No.
Yeah. That's the one I was thinking of.
I see. Yes.
Yeah,
but
so
Fairy Tale, Dan to Dan, and Makaine will all be legal. Should all be legal at BCS Philly.
Yeah, I love Fairy Tale. Classic memory compression deck, plus good finishing, plus good defensiveness, plus some of the most grief cards that Weiss Schwarz has ever introduced. So, yeah, I fuck with that deck. So, we'll see. But, yeah.
Or, wait, March 3rd? Maybe it's not legal. Am I trolling? Big if true, guys. All right, hold on. Let's go to the schedule because it's out March 15th. Yeah, 13th. And
I'm pretty sure that the Philadelphia
event is March 21st. Yeah, 22nd. All right, cool, legal.
Yep.
Ought to be 1 week.
Yep. So I'm looking forward to that set a lot. I think it's a really good set. Dan to Dan will be also legal, which I think is also a really good set. So,
really good is a strong word. I feel like it's fine.
Not meta defining, but really good.
Okay. All right. For once, I forgot to pull up the how long have we been talking? We've been yapping for 75 minutes, and I think
it's just been one long spike corner
before the last episode of the year. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Next episode will probably be the last episode of the year. It's time for the yearly refresh point awards. Yippee!
We will also go over all of our Wrapped, Spotify, whatever, all the things for the refresh point, and talk about that cool stuff, just like we did last year.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we got them just now. Yeah.
Yeah. But as always, thank you to everyone who listens. Thank you. Thank you for the people who comment. We love your comments. We love responding to your comments. And it's really good to know that the real ones are out there winning tournaments, making cuts, just consistently doing well, proving once and for all that the definitive edge maker in Weiss Schwarz is listening to us. So if you want to make more cuts, I mean,
yeah,
it's not too much to ask, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. But for us today, hopefully we'll come back from Pasadena gaming. But otherwise, that's gonna be it for this episode of the Refresh Point. Also, out alongside this podcast, you might see the VOD. I think it's just going to be recorded. I'm not sure how I would stream it. You might see the VOD of the NorCal SoCal DFW crew battle. Yeah. We're running a crew battle this weekend. It's a little shaky exactly how it's all going down, but we're going to make it happen. 5 men from each. I mean, I actually only know guys that are going to be in the crew battles. So that's not an inaccurate statement. That's not a jab at anybody or anything. But 5 dudes from each region coming in hot. Crew battle style finals on Sunday after we deal with our awkward fact of 3 crews and we round robin each other to see who has the best tiebreakers effectively to take 2 of them and do a crew battle.
Yeah.
$50 each for the playing players in the final crew battle on Sunday. Good old $200 pot. Split with your friends. Get your money back plus one copy of it. 2x your money in if you win.
Yeah, so we will be recording all those games, and then we didn't discuss it beforehand, but I'm certainly committed to doing a voiceover of all the games to give our commentary and analysis of the games.
Oh, like afterwards?
Yes.
Dude, I got a recorder on me. We can do that on site.
Yeah, but we don't need to do it on site. See, we're playing on site.
No. It's a crew battle.
Right.
So we will not... One person will be playing. We will not necessarily be playing.
Yeah.
All the time. So
it'll just be,
there will
more
be
logistically pleasing.
It'll be pretty straightforward. Like, we have the audio for it.
In any case, we will upload.
You know what? We can do both. How about that?
In any case, yes, we will upload some version of the video with some version of the audio.
Maybe both just for fun.
So that you get a holistic Weiss Schwarz experience and our commentary on
you can get the
game.
Thug finals as Tressa's, I believe, is going to be able to record the BCS Top Cut.
Nice.
So you can get, hopefully, I think somebody hopefully is going to be able to record the BCS Pasadena Top Cut games, and then you can catch the Thug finals right afterwards.
Amazing.
And if we're available during the Top Cut, we can crack out a better recorder. I listened to the audio that we had from the it's like it's $70. I got a better recorder, so we can record the non-recorded games of audio commentary potentially if we're not in it.
Yeah,
it would be preferable if we were in it.
Yeah, and
if we're not in it, then we could.
I had a great time doing that last time.
Yeah. Then we could do more audio commentary.
Do you plan on uploading that audio to the refresh?
I was planning on doing it before us recording this podcast, and that just did not happen by a fact of time.
But it will.
So by the time you listen to this podcast, there will be BCS Houston audio commentary along with the winner interviews that we already had from Houston and we'll hopefully have from Pasadena.
Yeah. So keep looking forward to our awesome recorded content because we are really recording a whole bunch of stuff now.
And that's all for today. So tune in next time after your next deck out And don't you forget to take the refresh point.